Hello students, how are you? Dear students, I have started a series of retrosynthetic analysis. In my first lecture, I have explained the basics of retrosynthetic analysis and the two aspects, especially the routine for designing a synthesis. Now, in this aspect, 2 points were covered. The first point is the whenever we conduct the retrosynthetic analysis, it is divided into two parts. The first part is the analysis part, and the second part is the synthesis part. Now, in the analysis part, there are 3 points, three important points to be remembered over here. So, what are those 3 points? The first point is whenever you see a target molecule, just recognize the functional groups which are present in the molecules. And the second point is consider that by considering that target molecule, disconnect the molecule in such a way that you will get a real reaction. It means that from the target molecule to the end molecule, that is the starting material, that should be easily synthesizable, or it can be easily available either by commercially, or scientists can easily synthesize that molecule. So that is the idea behind this disconnection. And the third point is the repeat. If you are not able to get the desired starting material, so you simplify that molecule, or you cut that molecule till you get the simpler starting material. So please remember these points in the analysis part. That is the first part of the retrosynthetic analysis. Now in the second part, especially the synthesis, means when you conduct the retrosynthetic analysis, the synthesis part is such an aspect in which you can verify the idea which you have implemented in the retrosynthetic analysis. It means that whatever you have designed on the paper, whatever is the planning which is on the paper, the imaginary planning or the disconnection approach, so the complete idea or the complete project should be implemented in the laboratory. So for the implementation, you need a synthetic plan or the synthesis of that particular molecule. For that purpose, you need a starting material. So for the starting material, I can say that that is obtained in the end product of your retrosynthetic analysis. That can be your first molecule in the synthesis. So write down the plan properly, add the reagents, apply some parameters to the reaction so that either you can add a temperature, pressure, a proper solvent. That solvents can be a protoic solvents, or you can add a catalyst. But dear students, for that purpose, you must know the basic knowledge of the some points, that is the understanding of the reaction mechanism. The second aspect is the knowledge of the reliable reactions. The third point is you must know what molecules are readily available or commercially available, or which compounds or which molecules can be easily synthesized in the laboratory. And the fourth aspect is the stereochemical aspect. So if you have a knowledge of these four aspects, then it will be easy to plan out the synthesis in the laboratory. Instead of having all this knowledge, sometimes we don't get the desired product as per our planning. So in such cases, you can modify your plan or you can change the plan, but the ultimate goal is to achieve the target material. All right. So these are the two aspects we have discussed in the last lecture. So this is the recap of my first lecture. Now, when we start, before we start the retrosynthetic analysis of the different molecules, we have to know some information regarding the retrosynthetic analysis, that is, who has designed this strategy, who has developed the retrosynthetic analysis, so that nowadays we can easily synthesize the most complicated molecules with the help of retrosynthetic analysis. Professor E.J. Corey, he developed the various strategies of the retrosynthetic analysis, and for that he received a Nobel Prize in 1990. So dear students, in his Logic of Chemical Synthesis, in this book written by Professor E.J. Corey, he explained 6 different strategies of retrosynthetic analysis. Out of that, to summarize, there are 5 strategies. So which aspects are there on which the strategies are based upon? The first aspect is the transform based. The second aspect is the structural based. The third aspect is topological strategies. The fourth one is stereochemical strategies, and the fifth one is the functional group based strategies. So these are the 5 different strategies which are developed by Professor E.J. Corey in the retrosynthetic analysis. So with the help of these 5 different strategies, we can conduct the retrosynthetic analysis, and we can resolve the complicated synthesis of the molecule. Additionally, another scientist, he is Professor Stuart Warren. Stuart Warren, he is a student of Professor E.J. Corey. He also worked on the retrosynthetic analysis. Organic synthesis, the disconnection approach, in his written by Stuart Warren. In this book, he explained 17 different strategies of retrosynthetic analysis. Additionally, there are 4 general strategies, A, B, C, and D. So by referring these 2 books, we can easily resolve the retrosynthetic analysis and the synthesis of the complicated molecule. So here we go. Now in this, in general organic reaction, what we have seen that the conversion of reactants into the products by using various solvents and the different reaction parameters to complete the reaction. In some cases, we are also using the catalyst. We also keep some parameters as a temperature and the pressure. So a general chemical reaction is represented over here as, so for example, this is the general reaction I am writing over here. A is equal to B plus C, and I am putting XO on this arrow. All right. So A is nothing but the reactant here. B and C are the products. X is a reaction condition. We have already explained what type of reaction conditions which are necessary to initiate the reaction or to complete the reaction. Then to apply a disconnection approach, over here, what is to be needed? Now here I can consider A is a reactant and B and C are the products. In the disconnection approach, our thought process should be reversed. So what we have to consider? We have to consider the products B and C, and then we have to think reversely so that we can achieve the A. Now here the idea is we have to keep the same reaction conditions when we are converting A into B and C. Similar reaction conditions we should keep over here when we put B plus C gives you A. Alright, so the sequence of various, in this case here only you can get a single starting material. But in many cases, you can have A is equal to B is equal to C, then D, etc. So there are many pathways. There are many pathways to reach the starting material. To reach the starting material. All right. Now the sequence of various approaches can be applied to design and identify the reactants. Now here, as I told you that again for the retrosynthetic analysis, we have seen two major points, that is the analysis and another part is synthesis. So these two aspects, they are common in all analysis, common. But the approach is we are applying for the retrosynthetic analysis is there are two approaches of retrosynthetic analysis. These are not approaches, these are the procedures where procedures to be conducted to reach or to identify the target material or the starting material. So this is a standard procedure, what we can say the SOP. But how the analysis is conducted, how the synthesis is conducted, so by applying two approaches over here. There are two approaches. So what are those two approaches? First approach is the disconnection approach. The first approach is a disconnection approach. And the second approach is the functional group interconversion approach. The functional group interconversion approach. Interconversion approach. So this is also called as FGI, that is a functional group interconversion. Now, with the help of these two approaches, all retrosynthetic analysis are conducted. Okay, either you have to apply a disconnection approach or you have to apply the FGI. Both approaches are equally important, guys. Both approaches are equally important when we see several examples. Okay, they are equally important. Only disconnection approach cannot give you the final product, or only FGI cannot give you a final product. But the first approach we have to apply, that is a disconnection. Then we will go switch over to the FGI. So why there is a need to introduce FGI, that we will see later on. But right now, some more information regarding. Now this disconnection approach is based on imaginary approach. Imaginary approach. So this is an imaginary approach. And what is FGI? FGI is based on the real approach. So this is a real approach. So disconnection is an imaginary approach and the FGI is a real approach. Only imaginary approach, with the help of imaginary approach, you cannot resolve the retrosynthetic analysis. You cannot conduct the retrosynthetic analysis. Or only real, by using real approach, you cannot conduct the retrosynthetic analysis. So there are two approaches. With the help of these two approaches, imaginary approach, I can say imaginary approach, or the other name I told you, that the disconnection approach, and real approach, the real approach or the FGI. With the help of these two strategies, you can conduct the retrosynthetic analysis. All right. So what is the significance of retrosynthesis synthetic analysis? Why there is a need? Why there is a need to develop the retrosynthetic analysis? This is a very complicated procedure. This is a very complicated strategies. But still, why there is a need to develop the retrosynthetic analysis? The first significance is the retrosynthetic analysis. The retrosynthetic analysis teaches you how to make the molecule. This is the first advantage. It teaches you how to prepare or make the molecule. Okay, make the molecule. This is the first advantage of or significance of the retrosynthetic analysis. Then you can have a synthetic plan. You can have a synthetic plan or an imaginary plan on paper, and you can fix the problem also. You can fix the problems if the reaction is not executable. So I'll explain this one. Don't worry. Executable. All right. These are the two major points, or the important points. And the third point is We have the analysis part. So anything wrong goes at the analysis part that can be captured or that can be identified or verified in the synthesis part in the retrosynthetic analysis. So both are interconnected. So analysis and synthesis, they are interconnected. You cannot consider analysis a tangentially. All right. Because if you think that analysis can go in any direction, and if you are not able to find out the starting material in a proper way, so your synthesis part will never work out. So you should think the analysis in such a way that your synthesis should be feasible in the laboratory. So this part is the vital part in the complete retrosynthetic analysis. Whatever you have designed on your paper, that should be executed in the laboratory. So guys, this is the significance of the retrosynthetic analysis, why retrosynthesis has been introduced and why it is developed. So with the help of retrosynthetic analysis, you can resolve the most complicated reactions, most complicated synthesis of the molecules. Especially the retrosynthetic analysis is generally used in the synthesis of natural products, the total synthesis, etc., etc. So the complicated molecules can be synthesized by using retrosynthetic analysis. So guys, here there are 4 arrows. The importance, you know that I'm always using this arrow particular. So let me tell you the significance of this arrows. We have 4 different types of arrows. So let me draw first these arrows. Those arrows are like this. And so what is the meaning of first arrow? First arrow means react to give. It means react to give products, means reactants, they are easily they are converted into the products. That is the meaning of this single-headed arrow. What about this double-headed arrow? This means that you can draw the different structures of same molecule in another words. You know that we are drawing several resonating structures for the benzene or in any other molecule where you can get more than one structures. Then the third is the two structures which are interconvertible. Two structures are interconvertible. The meaning, we know that the best example, that is the cyclohexane or cyclohexane. So they have a continuous interconversion from the likewise. So this is a boat shape. So in the second conversion you will get, so this 1 4, so this will be converted into 4 and 1, and the axial will be the equatorial, and equatorial hydrogens will be at the axial position. So this, you know, the this interconversion. So such type of interconversion is represented by this arrow, but we are interested in this arrow, that is a 2 lines with single head, that is a retrosynthetic arrow. So this is important. This is a very important point to be remembered. All right. So imaginary approach, we study the disconnecting approach, and in the real approach. So to summarize the things, in the imaginary approach, we are connected with disconnection, or we are dealing with disconnection, and in the real approach we are dealing with the FGI, that is the functional group interconversion. Now let us see the example, the most important example, that is the ester. Okay, so let us start with the example, that is the benzyl benzoate. This molecule is a insect repellent, and we can now conduct the retrosynthetic analysis. Now let us see the analysis part. So this is benzyl benzoate, where this is an ester, and as I told you that this is the insect repellent. Now I can name this molecule as a target molecule. This is a target molecule. All right. Now, just remember the first lecture where I have explained that whenever there is a retrosynthetic analysis, now let us carry out the retrosynthetic analysis. Retrosynthetic analysis of this benzyl benzoate. Now here we have two parts. The first part is the analysis or retrosynthetic analysis, and the second part is the synthesis. Now let us focus on the first part, that is the analysis, where I am taking this benzyl benzoate as a target molecule. All right. Now let us cut the molecule in the various fragments. So applying those guidelines which are mentioned in the analysis, identify the functional groups. Now look at this molecule, how many functional groups you can see over here. So here we have the carbonyl group, we have this ether. So complete group, you can say that this is a ester and the two phenyl groups. So here I can write the how can my observation for the target molecule is. So I have seen the ester in the molecule, ester group. Another observation is two phenyl groups are there, two phenyl rings are there. So this is also very important factor. Now disconnect the molecule in a simpler molecule. Okay, in a simpler starting material. This is our or the real fragments. All right. Now the real fragments can be a acceptor, can be a donor. So the next point is a real factor, real intermediates or the species are the acceptors or they are the donors. The meaning of the acceptors are they are electrophiles, and for the donors they are nucleophiles. So nucleophiles can be negative or they can be without charge also. As we know that the benzene ring is act as a nucleophile. All right, so let us identify and cut the molecule. Now one thing you should remember whenever there is such type of heteromolecules which are present, so cut the you put the cut in between the carbon and the hetero atom X. X can be oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen, etc. All right. So this is the first molecule. So that's why I'm not going into the details. So in the later on I can discuss the various strategies. All right. So here I have this molecule TM. Now where do I put the cut? So here I have two pathways where I can put cut over here. I can put cut over here. So this is a pathway and this is a B pathway. Now we must know that to obtain, now this is a target material, it means that this is a final molecule you have to synthesize. So for that we must know the basic knowledge how to synthesize the ester. So esters can be synthesized from alcohols and acid chlorides, or they can be synthesized from alcohols and the carboxylic acid. All right. Now here we have the ester. So what is our next goal is we have to cut the molecule in such a way that we should get the alcohols and acid chlorides or alcohols and the carboxylic chloride. So if I put a cut, if I follow the path A, so what are my fragments? My fragments are so these are the two fragments I get it from the oxygen and I put the negative charge. Now what are the, now this charge, this is a positively charged species and this is a negatively charged species. As we know, they are the synthons. So this is a acceptor synthon and this is also a synthon and this is a donor synthon. All right. Now what are the neutral species I am getting from these synthons? So let us see. So if this is a positive charge, I need one negative charge. I need such a species so that it can neutralize. So I can take this molecule, or this is this can be a one species and this can be another species of the, so okay, so this is a toluene and this is a carboxylic acid. So as per our knowledge, we can obtain carboxylic acid, but simultaneously we are not getting alcohols. All right. So this pathway is not a right pathway because the synthons we are obtain over here, they are not good synthons, because good synthons will give you a reliable reaction. All right. Now let us see the another pathway, B. Now in the B pathway, what is actually I am getting over here? So Here I am getting this one and the negatively charged synthon, and this one is the so this will be a positively charged. Please remember the carbon of carbonyl containing compound is always a electron deficient species, electron deficient center. So the positive charge is a, it acts as an electrophile. So this is a nucleophile, or you can say that the synthon which is obtained, that is a donor synthon, and this synthon is obtained, this is a acceptor synthon, that is a electron deficient. Now which synthetic equivalents? Now as I told you that the synthetic equivalents means they are the neutral species of the synthon and they are real reagents. Those reagents, they can be easily available in the market, or they can be easily synthesizable, or you can easily synthesize in the laboratory. Now here I am getting two different synthetic equivalents where now this is just an example to explain you what are the synthons and what are the synthetic equivalents. There might be some questions in your mind that, madam, why you have put a hydrogen over here and Cl over here. So later on I will explain the synthons and the chemical equivalents, which are the commercially available chemicals or the reagents. So we will see later on, but for the sake of convenience I am just explaining over here what are the synthons. Synthons are nothing but the charged species. So there are two types of synthon, you can say. One is the donor synthon, another one is the acceptor synthon. And the neutral species here we are getting from the synthon, they are nothing but the synthetic equivalents. They are the synthetic equivalents. This is also synthetic equivalence. Now you know that benzyl alcohol is easily available in the market. So this synthon is easily available. Sorry, this synthetic equivalent is easily available, uh, and also the benzoyl chloride. This is also easily available. So as we know that you can get the alcohols and the acid chloride with the basic knowledge of the uh, organic reaction. You can by using a base you can get the formation of this molecule. All right, so this is base hydrolyze reaction, and the reaction can be proceed. Now the first reaction is, you know that this is a analysis part. We have developed the two pathways and we have seen that the B pathway is the most feasible pathway. B pathway is the path, B is the most feasible path, is the most feasible path, most feasible path. Why this is most feasible path? Because it gives the real synthons, or you can say that the real reagents. All the reagents, they are easily available. So that is the uh, that is the real concept of this. Now let us this part is as I told you that this is the halfway done. Now let us concentrate on the synthesis of the molecule. If you want to synthesize the molecule, then check out the just so this is a benzyl alcohol, OH. So as I told you that it is a base catalyzed reaction. So you can use a base over here, and this base will abstract the proton from here, and you will get the formation of. All right, so this is a negatively charged molecule, and when so as we know that this is always a delta plus, and so the moment it will approach over here, the Cl group act as a good living group. So this is the final whatever is the synthetic plan we have developed over here, the analytical plan, it is successful because in the synthesis you can have this molecule. All right, so this is your target molecule. This is your target molecule, and this is your starting material. Now here we have used only one approach, that is a disconnection approach. That is only a disconnection approach. All right. So this approach is we don't need to apply the FGI because here there is no need. So when there is a need of FGI, when the disconnection approach doesn't go in a right direction, and in that case we need to apply or we cannot apply the disconnection approach to the molecule. In that case we have to apply the FGI. So thank you dear students. Today we stop over here, and in the next class we can see some more examples. Thank you so much.